Ah! What if everything you ever wanted?
What more do you want from me?
Came in a rocket pan. Gold pan. Rocket edition. It's fast. It's strong. And it's also a weapon. Goddamn claim jumpers! And it'll even help you cover up the crime. They'll never know. They'll never know. They'll never know. We are still in the middle of winter and I'm a bit concerned about what that big orange thing is in the sky. Have you ever seen one of them, Gadsy?
Oh, what is that?
Ah! We're out in the blistering Aussie winter sun because I want to find some gold to melt. Like, honestly, I just want to melt gold in a potato. That sounds like a strange sentence to you. I suggest you stick around for the rest of the video. And to help me do that, I'm going to be using the potato pan, also known as the potato pan, also known as the rocket pan.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Okay, so it's not actually known by any of those names except for the Betea pan, B-E-T-E-A. It is a very old style of pan. In fact, this is the predominant pan used right across the entire world except for Western countries. And we call it a potato pan because closed captions thinks it's a potato pan, not a Betea pan. As is traditional with Western countries, we bastardized a gold pan. We put riffles in here because we're so bad at panning that you need riffles to prevent your gold falling out. Whereas if you're actually skilled, you can use one with no riffles at all. And the flat bottom of a Western style gold pan like this actually leaves all your concentrates and gold open to the water to wash out, whereas the Betea pan comes to a point, and that point is covered with black sand or ironstone, creating a friction bed which actually protects your gold. Don't get me wrong, I love both of these. I use both of these, but if you ever want to try a traditional pan that dates back 4,000 years, the Betea pan is the way to go. Rock nipple. Ooh. Ooh, that's an old one. Senior Sweatpants and I today are working in this root ball system. Traditionally, we've found anytime you get tree roots that cut across a fast section of water, you get really decent gold because they cause obstructions and turbulence in the water, and that's what allows the gold to drop out of the flow. And for once on my prospecting adventures, we've got water right next door. Don't have to walk it anywhere. Rocks. Ugh. Potato pans are really cool in the way in which they work. You've got to stratify the material like you would with a normal gold pan, so that means all the heavies go to the bottom, all the lights come to the top. And you could obviously use a classifier, but I'm going to use my meat scoops to get rid of the big rocks. At this point, all the gold should be settled down in the bottom of the rocket there. So we're going to put the whole pan, the whole pan, under the water, and we're going to make tight little circles with it whilst under the water. And that will get all the material spinning in a circle. That further concentrates all the black sand and gold in that point, but all the light stuff, because it's stratified and at the top, floats off. And if you are not sure how far down you are, you lift the pan out and you have a look. So we've already got rid of half our material. We're going to re-stratify again just to make sure there's no clay at the bottom. And we're going to keep doing the spin. Nice and gentle. And that's it. So now we're down to the black sand and the heavy concentrates. To deal with this, you've got two options. Most of the time I just dump it into a bucket or another pan and take it home, or you can do the Betea pan swirl. We put a little bit of water in it and we spin the material in a circle above the water. Again, that stratifies everything, and when all the lights are at the top, you tip the pan forward. So this is all our light material, and we can literally just wash that off. We're down to just a little bit of concentrate, so I'm going to try and do a one-handed swirl here. Tip it forward. And then you can just simply pan it off like you would normally pan. You just got to go a little bit more slowly because obviously you don't have safety riffles, so you have to pan properly. And this is if you want to take it all the way down in this pan, but you don't have to do that. I'm such a big believer that you should always clean up at home because it's much easier and much faster because you'll have the right equipment and it's safer. You're not going to lose gold. Usually when I use this pan, people are like, oh, you're going to be losing so much gold, but I just want to point out just how fine these specks of gold actually are. It does a fantastic job at recovery. In tests done by Dan Hurd and myself, this pan has about the same recovery, depending on your technique, as a Garrett Super Sluice. Now, there's one more cool thing about this pan. It makes it very easy to collect the concentrates because it's all sitting in the point. Reedy Creek is one of these amazing spots where you just don't know what you're going to dig up. There's an abundance of gemstones, including diamonds and sapphires on this creek, as well as gold. So I get halfway down my next pan, and this is what pokes its head out. What is that? I don't know what that is. If you guys have any idea what that would be called, I would love to know. Please leave a comment below. Because damn, is that that's a pretty rock. Go with the others. Ah! Anyway, we shall see if there's any gold in this. Oh yeah? Yeah, a few little bits. Oh, we are going to be melting gold in a potato tonight. Yeah, boy. A couple pans later, I got a nice big chunk of tourmaline, and spec count got ever so slightly better. I said it before, gold in the potato pan adds up really fast. And I guess just because the moon was out, Gadsy decided that he wanted to go on an adventure instead of working the easy gold. So because Gadsy and I seem to have gold prospecting ADD, we're on the move. We're hunting for new ground because 10 specs just was not tickling the button well enough. Gadsy's like, there's a channel over here. It's got water in it. We should go have a look at it. So here's the channel. It's got water in it. And we're having a look at it. That's actually very interesting. That's not conglomerate, is it? It's like a mudstone.
It's like, yeah.
Did you just tell me that we walked all the way to the bush because you tested here for gold, and then you tested there and there for what?
Black sand. There's still stuff here. You can dig here.
Okay. I believe I can pan.
Telling you, man, good gold's there.
Good gold's here.
I can sense it.
There's clay in there. They bloody well want to be with all the clay about.
All right, so that's the first pan. That's
How am I going to melt a gold potato with this? Oh, we got black sand. I was promised black sand. We've got it. I'll give Gadsy one thing. He promised black sand, and he's definitely delivered. Oh, wow. That's some chunky black sand. That is some real chunky black sand. Look at these bits. Black sand and not a dot. No golds. Do you have any spots that have gold?
yeah, further up if you wanted to go up.
There's a relic of the past. That, my dear gentle ladies, is part of the hydro sluice setup. This entire area was ground and hydro sluice. So they used water cannons to blast apart the banks, and then they would funnel all the slurry through sluice boxes. And that right there is one of the pipes that they would have been using to transport the water to their water cannons. There is a kingfisher doing its fishing right now. I have never seen one of those out in the wild before. One small 30-minute detour later.
So I'm taking on the tour to Gadsy.
Hey, oh, look, I'm just not into competitive sports.
It's no competitive sport. Keeping you fit.
Gadsy said that there's an old mine over here. Whoa, so this is all conglomerate. In my last long video, we showed you this area briefly, and the conglomerate is from a very ancient old riverbed. The Wombat has done a lot of work since you were last here. Conglomerate is made up of this ancient mountain that eroded millions of years ago, and it laid it in as gravel either side of Reedy Creek in the Woolshed Valley. That gravel contains a lot of gold, and this is what feeds Reedy Creek every time it rains. So if you are anywhere near the conglomerate, when you're near the creek, you usually find really decent specs. Gadsy, are we going to test pan this?
Oh, yes, we are.
What's your predictions?
10.
10?
10 with a lot of black sand.
Okay. I'm going to hope, I'm going to be the overly optimistic idiot. I'm going to go for 100.
100?
Yep.
Actually, okay.
Ah, yeah. You got about your 10. They're very little, but they're there. And most importantly, you've taken us to a spot with gold. Well, if Gadsy got a few, surely I'm encouraged to get a couple. Oh, bullshit. I got nothing. I didn't even get a dot.
Ah, the curse is reversed.
Damn you, Gadsy! Damn you! You may have noticed that I've gone back to a normal pan, and that's because the other pan is now considered to be evidence in a murder investigation, and you need depth of water when it comes to using a potato pan, and that's a very shallow puddle. But I digress. Let's get some gold.
Gold's a funny thing. We found gold here only a couple of weeks ago, and it took us a substantial amount of time to relocate it because apparently it grew legs and moved out of the way of where it was.
Gadsy's gone full bush tribal. And we have been testing. We've tested all over this area. It's been really annoying because Gadsy got this mad pan a couple of weeks ago. And we thought, oh, we're definitely coming back here. And then we just couldn't find it. He's shovel dogging the gold straight away. What are you doing?
Nah, that's not yours.
Look, gold likes to stick onto something it can't get through. And that means two things, bedrock or clay. And in this case, we're looking for the clay layer. The problem is the clay's been eroded by the recent floods. And there's only thin bands of it in certain sections. The bend clay runs through this section. So I sort of tracked it down this side and I looked here and I was like, oh damn, there's a big shelf of it sticking out. I shaved some of it off, gave it a Mama Chang massage.
Mama Chang.
And in the end, Mama Chang gave us one happy ending. That is one pan of that clay. That is a really good spec count. Each spec in there is worth between 1 and 2 US cents. So that makes that a 48-cent pan, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but you do 10 pans, suddenly you made $5. You do 20 pans, you made $10. We like Mama Chang pans.
Look, we were both excited over that pan, but what was about to happen was way better.
It's a good pan. It is a good pan. That's probably like a $2 pan at least. So that's where it adds up. This clay, we're going to be roasting potatoes tonight.
Oh, maybe steak and whiskey. Maybe.
I can't melt gold in a steak. Or can you?
Yeah, let's see.
With whiskey and steak in our hearts, we set about panning the clay bar, and what we started to discover was the gold was not only on the clay, but also in the gravel sitting above it, and it was rich. I mean, it was really rich.
Well, well, well. Would you looky here? Chunky coarse black sand, gemstones, and just a whole bunch of gold. That is easily like probably $1, maybe $1.50 pan. What do you reckon?
Uncut gems.
Hey, Gadsy. I got the best pan of the day. Wow, there's some really rich pockets in this section. That's a good pan. And we're a good like 150 meters from the creek right now. That's a lie. We're probably 50 meters from the creek, but it feels like 150 meters because I'm wearing gumboots. Now to suck all this up. It's pretty good when you got to do multiple passes on gold. Nom, 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 nom. Oh yeah, gobble guts, you are not going hungry today. There's going to be no UNHF CRPRB fundraiser for you. No sponsors needed. I got that pan from just here. So I'm curious to know. So that's on the clay, so I can't dig into it. I've got to scrape it. Every time we come to Reedy Creek, we're really looking for what's called a pixie pan, which is where gold sits outside either side of your dirt pile. And they make these little triangles that look like pixies' ears. And I keep just getting pieces of gold coming out either side the whole way down. Yes, we're still using the meat scoop classifying system. See, Gadsy has this thing where he goes and he gallivants around the countryside and he goes looking for gold deposits. And I'm always like, I'm lazy now. I've done a lot of gold prospecting in my life, and I'm like, I can't be bothered. 10's good enough for today. I'm really glad we went for the gallivant today. Very glad.
It was great to go out with a young buck like Gadsy, who's full of youthful enthusiasm, to remind me to get out there, stretch my legs, and ignore my lower back pain in the search of gold.
All good things must come to an end, Gadsy, and the spec count is starting to drop off. It's a very small but rich deposit, so for now it's been great. Definitely going to have enough to melt in a potato tonight, that's for damn sure. $95% plus of the gold that I found today came from this spot. I'm very glad that Gadsy took me for the long walk. I think we've got enough. Oh, we've got enough, definitely, to melt in a potato. Maybe even a steak. That is what you call a starry night pan. Hell yeah, boy.
With the gold collected, it was time to start my cooking show. You need a potato, a knife, and a blowtorch. This is by far the most tedious part of cleaning up Reedy Creek black sand. Very slowly, but surely, hand panning it off. Do I have a miller table? Absolutely. Can I be bothered setting it up? Absolutely not. And to compound matters, I lost my tripod in the bush today, so we're doing this handheld. Getting down to that delicious skinny end now. Look at the gold. We're going to be melting in a potato real soon. The snakeskin pans make cleaning up much easier. They're from XP and they're definitely worth having in your kit if you can't afford something like a miller table or a blue bowl. Ooh, there we have it. One smiley line of gold. Now it's time for a potato. Chopping board. Potato. This is like the easiest crucible you'll ever get. Old potato. New one. Not cocaine. This is actually borax, otherwise this would be a very expensive gold melt if it was cocaine. And we just want to glaze the potato. And it's not the kind of glaze you would eat. Fire! And it's melting. It's melting. So apparently borax just dissolves in water, so we're going to do that. Well, it's not very big, nor is it very shiny, but it is gold, so that's something.